As well, I want to talk you through some of those retail stories we've had this morning. All sorts of things for us to discuss, starting with this one. That proposed tie-up between Sainsbury's and Asda is going to be referred for further scrutiny over concerns that it would have too much power over what we spend at the supermarket. Also today, as we said, the rival Tesco, it's opened the first of around 15 new discount stores. They're going to trade under that name and sign, Jack's. They're designed to take on cheaper rivals like Aldi and Lidl. And this morning, we've had an update from the owner of B&Q. It said that profits fell by 30% despite the hot summer weather. So the man to make sense of all of this is Carl McKeever. He's a retail analyst at Visual Thinking. He's in the newsroom. Carl, morning to you.
Hello.
Let's start with that Sainsbury's story first of all, because look, we were surprised when it was announced, that tie-up between the two big supermarket giants. Probably no surprise that the regulator says, hang on a minute, we need to investigate this in a bit more detail.
Absolutely, and hopefully this is the regulator really doing its job. The proposed merger is huge on an absolutely unprecedented scale, and there are many, many consequences that they're starting to look at.
And as far as that competition in the market is concerned, I mean, we suggested there that the merged entity would be accountable for, it would take £1 in every 3 that we spend on groceries. That would be huge power, wouldn't it?
Yes, it absolutely would. And I think as you start to look at the proposed deal, really it starts to say there's more benefits to the business side of it in terms of their buying power and how they can influence what happens with suppliers rather than what the selling benefits are for consumers. So I think, in terms of their ability to squeeze prices, to be able to try and strike a better deal in terms of what their buying in price is, undoubtedly there would be the efficiencies there that they would get. But actually the overlap in stores, how that might impact on job roles, how that could even impact on things such as head offices is serious considerations, and that's why I think it's good that detailed scrutiny of the plan is going to take place.
So that's Sainsbury's and Asda. Let's talk about Tesco, because a big day for Tesco. They've opened those Jack's stores. What really interests me about this, and you may have a take on it, is that some of them are old Tesco stores, so they've just been rebranded. But how do they actually save a lot of money? Because it's run by Tesco, it's going to be the same sort of suppliers and all that sort of thing. Why are they sufficiently cheaper?
Absolutely. This is a massive corporate experiment, but it's one that they have to do. The move that they've announced today is purely defensive. This is not really about launching a new brand. This is trying to stop the progress of Aldi and Lidl right dead in their tracks. Aldi has already announced that by 2022 it wants to have thousands of its small local neighbourhood stores around the UK. Already Aldi and Lidl are around about 750 stores each. This is all impacting on Tesco's market share. And of course, what they want to do is to try and get as many of their sales they can. So if you can't, in a sense, almost compete against them, try and compete within their own backyard. So this is a concept which will be very similar in both look and feel and proposition to Aldi and Lidl. And we've seen that already today from those first shots of the store that's opened in Cambridgeshire. But of course what it means is that they have to keep the operation lean. There will be no online delivery service. Yes, there'll be an app to familiarise yourself, but this is purely a retail experience store where you have to visit. The purpose of this, though, is absolutely to stop Aldi and Lidl in their tracks by laying down a challenge that says we too can have a discount operation and we compete just as well on quality and price as you do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out. Carl, thanks very much. Carl McKeever there, retail analyst at Visual Thinking. So let's show you what all of that has done to the numbers.